What's happening, guys? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Welcome back to our YouTube channel. And once again, this is your boy, Dr. Martin, and I'm here to actually give you my gold breakdown to basically explain to you the reason behind my 1800 target. And I will be showing you every single move that we caught in the gold trade and also where the market can potentially go next. All right, so as you guys can see, we are literally trading at 1800, which was our all-time target. However, I am going to give you guys also a directional bias as to where you can expect gold to head to from here and how I actually got like previous moves. I will be explaining also the loss that I took on gold to basically give you tips and advices on what it is to avoid when you're trading. All right, so I will be giving you a breakdown on gold, and again I'll be giving you my previous loss, the reason why I actually lost on gold, and what it is that you guys can learn from my previous loss and what you can actually take into your bag of trading and be better at your skill. Right, so let's go to the monthly time frame. So the reason why I'm actually starting in the monthly time frame is because there's a specific trend that I want to actually identify on the monthly. There's a specific move that I want to identify and also talk about with you guys on the monthly time frame. So obviously we do know that the higher the time frame, the solid the trend. The higher the time frame, the more solid you can actually depend on that trend. So we want to go to the monthly time frame to basically understand what it is that we have on this chart, and then be able to then break it down a little bit and get to understand what we can basically learn from the chart that we have on the monthly. So looking at the monthly time frame, right? So there's video breakdowns that I've actually sent to the group, obviously from when the market was still trading around these lower regions, around about there. But obviously I've been on gold ever since 2018, I think 2018, when the market was actually like around about there. I think the market was there like when I've been trading gold. So I've been trading gold from around about there consistently without even changing onto something else. So I've been looking at gold ever since we're here, and the market has actually played out to my analysis, because then I had predicted that the market was going to go up to the highs, particularly because we've got an inverse head and shoulder pattern that is here on the monthly. So if you've done your patterns right, and you've actually done your beginners course on trading, you will actually understand that this is an inverse head and shoulder, looking at the shoulder, the head, and the shoulder. So let's actually dive into it. Let's dive into it. Let's dive into it. So if you look at this structure, right, you actually have a high there that we actually have to get into. So we do have a high that we have over there. However, the market conditions will actually get there. However, we want to actually like notice and also take note of what is happening right now in the charts for us to basically get the move to the upside, right? So the reason why I've been saying 1800 is because also 1800 is quite a significant level on gold. Looking at the previous market, you can see how we've actually spiked into 1800 at some point, and we actually came and shied a little bit away from 1800. So 1800 is also quite a very strong level on the gold instrument. All right, so from the monthly we can see that okay, overall we are actually looking at spiking into that level, if not breaking above that level. All right, so we are looking at 1920, 1905 roundabout on this gold instrument. So now we're going to break it down to even smaller time frames to basically understand what it is that we have. So if you look at this even becomes a lot better, because you can see that we're actually sitting at a critical level. So the one thing that will determine if we really break above that level is if we really break past that 1800 mark, even on the weekly time frame, because you know how the weekly candlestick could actually leave a spike on that level. So if we do get a spike on this level, then I do really see gold crumbling all the way to 1000 per ounce. So we can actually go back to 1000 per ounce on gold if we really crumble. And obviously this is a very huge support level that we have. So that's an all-time low that we have on gold. Not even all-time, that's a major low that we have on gold. So we can actually come back to revisit the 1000s if we actually fail to break above that 1800. But however, I am looking at actually spiking into that level and actually eventually dropping back to 100 on gold. So let's even look at the weekly time frame and see how this weekly time frame has actually been forming. So you can see how the previous weeks have been actually stuck up in this level. This is where I actually lost a couple of bucks. It was 12,000 Rand account that I posted on my Instagram account. You guys saw the account, you guys saw everything, and also the transparency behind the trade that I actually funded 12,000 and I lost it in about 10 minutes. So I'm explaining how I actually lost that trade and what really happened for me to actually lose that trade. So I will be going through like a couple of things to basically make you understand what it is that I'm actually looking at on this trade. So yesterday's move, right? Okay, let me just start here. Let me just start here. So on the weekly and the monthly, overall gold is on an upward trend. So because gold is on an upward trend, we then know what to do when we get to the markets. We will be looking for further buy movements rather than looking for sells. So selling markets can come, but those are not our ideal moves. We're basically interested in finding the buying markets, right? So what we have on this chart is that we did have a very clean rise to the upside. So the market did literally go up. So that was a drive to the high and a pullback, a drive to the high and a deep pullback into the lows. And we actually did get a drive to the highs. Why am I saying this? The reason I'm saying this is a drive to the highs is because then we broke out of this previous high, which I did mark out with this horizontal line that I have drawn on the charts there. So this was actually like a previous high zone that I had. So this is where now I was actually focusing on for a couple of weeks before I actually, before I actually blew that account. So I had been buying gold every single time it dipped into this level because I had understood that this was a previous high. It came back to dip into this level, I bought again, and then gold eventually came to dip into this level. The reason why I blew this account, I will show you just now. And this is part of the reasons why I don't really use trend lines, because then trend lines give us a lot of mixed signals and we end up believing that the market will actually go the opposite direction when actually it's going to go up, right? So going down to the 4 hour time frame, I'll show you exactly the trade I took when I blew that account, right? So I drew this line. This was a trend line that had formed nicely and beautifully. And then the market had actually bounced off of this level. Then it came back onto this level and region. And then the market did kind of give us like a slight push to the downside. So it did kind of like show me a little bit of blues. If you look at that whole wick, I was holding profits at some point. However, I got too confident that the market was gonna go down at least to like 1650. That was the level that I was looking at, 1650. And there was a couple of pips that I would have caught on that move. Let me just calculate how many pips those were. Like I would have gotten at least 440 pips on a 1.25 lot, which would have been roughly around $4,500, around about $5,000 or so on this trade that I would have made on an intraday trade. So I was actually I was very confident. So I was risking 12,000 to basically make around 80,000 on that trade, which was a very bad decision that I made. So if you look at this, right? So the market did kind of like give us a beautiful rejection on the support level and actually went up. So from this upward move, the market gave us a fake on this trend line, the stupid trend line that I hate using. I'm going to remove it because I've actually shown you why I was actually, I actually took this trade and I was wrong. The market showed us like a slight rejection. I even rejected the stuff that I normally use to basically get my trading ideas. So if I had done this, I would have known that the market has actually closed above this previous low and the market is not going to go back to the lows, because then we had closed above the previous low and we actually came back to retest, and these were opportunities for me to actually go long because I had actually missed this buying opportunity from here. Then I should have even gotten entries from this level, at least targeting this previous high at the first target and obviously waiting for more targets to the upside. And then the market did kind of play out, went back to the highs and actually came back down. If I had come in here, this is how much I would have actually secured. This is how much I would have actually secured. I would have actually secured 420 pips, which is equivalent to the same amount of pips that I was looking for to the downside, which was going to be a very beautiful trade, because then this would have been a 0% drawdown trade straight into profits, and also ignoring and surpassing in losses. So this is what actually made me lose on that trade, and I actually learned that my support levels for me work better for me than my trend lines. So I would like to stick to trend to support and resistance levels more than I want to stick to trend lines, because then I can clearly see the market better when I look at it from a horizontal perspective, rather than looking at it from an inclining angle. So for me, support and resistance are key. Trend lines don't work for me. That's just me personally. I'm not going to say that they don't work for anyone else. For other people, they do work wonders for them. But for me, I would rather prefer to keep my trading strictly support and resistance based, right? So now we actually had this high as well. So if we go back to the daily time frame now, going forward, and the reason why I actually said that the market was actually going to go to 1800, right? So we had this high over here, which we did break and had a fake out on that level. So because we had a fake out, I'm going to mark out that level and actually focus on that level in future, right? So we broke out of this high zone, and you can see how we kept on spiking through that level and failing to break past that level, but eventually broke out of that level. So we did broke out of that level. We did break out of that level with a huge candlestick, and we even broke out of that 1750 major key level on gold, right? So we broke out of that 1750 level and also came back to test it nicely with this beautiful H4 candle, and we did get like a confirmation that the market is going to continue rising, right? So from this level, we were kind of playing above this previous high, right? So the market kept on wicking above this previous high. Now, please pay a close attention to this, because this is very serious information and very informative stuff that I'm giving to you. So the market did play above this all-time high, and from this all-time high, we kept on wicking and wicking and wicking, and the markets were clearly failing to sustain below that all-time high. For me as a trader, this actually did give me indications that, okay, the market is kind of failing. Let's go back to the daily time frame to actually show you what I mean. So we actually spiked on this zone for 1, 2, 3, 4 days. So around about 4 days, we actually failed to break below that level. And this is the reason why then gold was actually ranging for a couple of days. So we did see like this range spike to the lows, went back up and spiked to the lows. This is the reason why then gold was actually spiking so much from that level. And again, on the smaller time frame, I then zoomed in to basically see and identify other levels that I would actually use for me to actually get more trading opportunities. And I realized that we actually had a high over here uh, that had just formed when the market was just spiking. Like you can see how this was resistance, and the market went up, came back to tap as support, and then went back above. And this level had been a firmly holding level of support. And this is where I was actually now stopping my interest to basically look out for further interest to the upside. This was exactly where I called this trade out. 1770, 400 is where I actually came in, right? So initially I wanted to come in at 1775, but obviously got a better entry at 1770 400 on this trade. All right, so the reason why then I came in here is because if you look at how much we had been wicking to the lows, this was actually confirmation. I was even on my live and the market was still run about there, and I did say that, guys, gold was actually going to buy to 1800. Some people actually took me serious and actually hopped into the trade, but other people had, as per usual, people just felt like, nah, I'm not going to take that trade, to only find out that this was actually a beautiful trade. All right, so then the market did come to this yellow level that I drew over there and gave us a beautiful confirmation. One of the confirmations that we got was that the market was actually creating reversal patterns at that support level. And from there, the market just went up. So the first anticipated level of resistance was obviously this whole busy region over here. So I wanted to actually identify what the market was going to do from here. And the market did come to this level, broke it nicely and broke it clean. And then the market hit around around about 179600, and then we start ranging from there, and we eventually broke to the upside today and actually hit that 1800 mark, right? So looking at this market and now trying to actually find an entry from here, what I will be waiting for and what I will be personally looking for on this trade going further. Again, guys, don't forget that we're actually going to that yellow level that we drew from the high time frame. So we're not forgetting that there's that level that we drew from the high time frame, right? So what I will be waiting for is that the market will come and break above this level and also range a little bit around about 1800. If we can get this clean move, like a clean break above, and then the market ranges for a bit, ranges for a bit, ranges for a bit, and then we get a clean push to the upside. This is what I will be looking for. If we can actually like get this clean range on upon the break of the range, then I will be taking my long positions to 1900. That is what I will be personally looking for on gold. All right. So for now, what we do have is that the market did get to our target as anticipated, and I did explain what really made me lose that trade and what also I've actually learned from that trade, that I'm personally like very much focused on support and resistance levels, and trend lines are not something that I really look forward to using. So if trend lines work for you, then that's good for you. But for me personally, I would just like to keep my charts very clean and very neat and very easy, right? So for now, I will look for the markets to pull back a little, gain some strength, and then we actually break out of this level and eventually head up to 1900. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and please do subscribe to the channel. Please do share the video on your IG timelines, on your WhatsApp stories, whatever the case is, to basically help us reach more people and get your friends to subscribe to the channel. I will be producing more content for you. Obviously, if the feedback is good, then obviously I will be motivated to post more content. So I hope you guys really learned a thing or two from this video, and have a beautiful, pipful week. And I appreciate you guys so much. Have a beautiful week. Cheers.